Welcome to our interview series where we are highlighting the ways that people are fostering mental health and the work that they're doing. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Gerry Bodeker, a Harvard-trained public health academic. Professor Gerry Bodeker is the chair of the Mental Wellness Initiative of the Global Wellness Institute. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited for this interview.
Hi, Donna. Great to be here with you. Thank you.
You are very welcome. And can you tell us about the work that you're doing? Because it's so exciting.
Yeah, thanks, Donna. As you mentioned, I chair the Mental Wellness Initiative for the Global Wellness Institute, and there's a team of us in the initiative who worked together to compile all the evidence we could find to support wellness pathways, wellness strategies, as ways to create mental health, but in a sense go beyond mental health to flourishing and thriving and continued growth and happiness throughout the lifespan. And we published this in a white paper on mental wellness, which is a free download at the Mental Wellness Initiative website of the Global Wellness Institute. And it was really, I trained as a clinical psychologist, but it was really the psychology I would have liked to have studied when I was a student. Not the sort of diagnostic manual side of things, but really how self-care and in some cases interpersonal and community support can lead people out of mental health challenges into stability and then into flourishing and growth and new horizons in their lives. And there's so much science behind this now, and a lot of neuroscience, which I know you're also interested in, that we felt we had to pull this together between two covers and get it out there as an evidence-based framework for understanding wellness and mental wellness strategies that we can do ourselves.
I think that that is so important. One of the things that is so critical, we have the neuroscience. We know a lot about the brain. We teach people about the body. We teach physical education. We teach people about health in school. But we're just beginning to think about the brain. We're just beginning to translate what we know into ways that people can use it. And I think the work, one of the powerful parts about the work that you're doing is bringing it to people in a way that is useful.
Yeah. We want to go further. We've got all the science together. Now we want to sort of chunk it and put it into little bite-sized pieces. So you have, let's say, meditation, and then you have a little summary, and then you have the science, and people can go to deeper and deeper levels according to their interest. Mm-hmm. But it's combining the science and the pathway with a how-to. At the moment, you've got lots of how-to and lots of science, but not sort of layered together, and that's what we're working on doing as our next step.
I think that's great. And if however we can make it as accessible as possible. And now one of the things I'm finding in the pandemic is that there's so much information out there and people are at home. So accessibility is actually increased in some ways. And I know you were part of the Never Alone Summit that's this weekend.
Yes.
And what a wonderful opportunity to have so many speakers talking about mental health and mental wellness.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing?
Sure. Victor and Lynn Brick, who are founders and co-directors of the John W. Brick Foundation for Mental Health, named after Victor's late brother, who suffered of his life with mental illness. And the Chopra Foundation teamed up to create this global summit around mental health during COVID, because there are huge mental health issues associated with this. Um, and we were asked, because a lot of my work has been in Asia, we were asked to focus on, and we've recently done a video series with young people and students and how they're dealing with these stresses. Because at each phase of the lifespan, there are different kind of stressors. Um, and they impact people in different ways. You know, you can say, well, people are anxious or they're depressed, but they have different contingencies affecting them. And for students, a lot of it is around, how do I do my exams? How do I graduate? Um, when classes resume, am I going to be doing virtual classes? Am I going to get a virtual degree? Or I'm stuck in another country studying at my
Mhm.
university of choice. How do I get home? I haven't got the money for an airfare. So we wanted to focus on that, and then the Never Alone Summit asked us to do a short video, and I'll share the link with you, which can accompany this conversation, um, around youth in Asia Pacific and how they're dealing with the mental health challenges of COVID-19. So we contributed that, and it has just, in the past hours, played on the first day of the Never Alone Summit. And we'll, of course, be releasing it through our own mental wellness initiative website through the Global Wellness Institute.
We will definitely include that link in the link for this, because
Thank you.
that's really important. I saw a little bit of that because I had seen it on a different call and was not able to see it today, but I will watch that after we speak tonight or tomorrow.
Okay.
I think it's important to address the specifics of the adolescents, because they are a very critical piece of this, and they may be impacted significantly more
Very much.
than a lot of the
Yeah.
other populations.
Yeah.
Just knowing what their brains are going through in terms of that time period, and what
Yeah.
one of the most important things for the adolescent brain is relationships and
Certainly.
peer relationships.
Yeah.
And it's very
And
difficult.
also a sense of future, predictable future.
Yes,
All of that, those rugs have just been pulled from underneath.
yes.
Yeah.
I think that sense of control. I find that, and that is often what we see portraying in many of the issues with mental health.
Yeah.
That feeling of not feeling control.
Right. And that's one of the things we've been trying to emphasize. There are strategies for um, relocating the sense of control
Hmm.
to an inward sense, putting the locus of control within rather than without, so that the control is just an inner sense of balance that allows one to shift with the changing winds, because you can never control externalities fully. It's an illusion if you think you can. Um, and what you can control is your inner sense of balance, so that you can fluctuate. You know, and there's the old Chinese saying that in a storm, a mighty tree will go over, but the bamboo will bend and be there in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's really the situation we're in. We have to be like bamboo or grasses, able to move, and not like fixed and rock solid. This is how I am, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is where I'm going or standing, and the morning will be over. So the locus of control has to go from outer to inner, and meditation, yoga, other practices, particularly being in nature, attuning to nature, not just rushing or running or jogging or sprinting through nature, but walking slowly in a park or in a forest or by a lake, if we're fortunate to have access to nature, slowly listening, smelling, um, touching, connecting all our senses to nature slowly. There's a whole science behind that that shows that in itself, it's called forest bathing. The Japanese call it Shinrin-yoku. They're the ones who first pioneered the research into this. It resets the immune system, it resets the brain, it takes us from looking at externalities to feeling settled within. That settled within is what we really all need in times like this.
Yes, I think you're right. And one of my mantras every day has been to say to everybody, you need to get outside. Everybody needs to get outside for
That's
at
very true.
least half an hour a day. I know there's a lot of work going on right now, but as they're ending school, but saying you need to get outside, you need to get outside because we need that so much.
There is new research, and I just published a link to a BBC report on it in my LinkedIn account. New research showing that staying indoors reduces immunity.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. And that's what we need right now.
Yeah.
The other mantra that I've had with this is grant me the serenity to understand the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, or the serenity to accept the things I cannot change,
Yes.
the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
I know that one. It's very beautiful and very, very apt for this time.
So one of the things I have been asking is, this is a tough time. How are you fostering mental health?
Well, I'm in a situation where I was born in Australia. I grew up in Perth, Western Australia, but I left for graduate studies, went to America, did graduate studies at Harvard, worked in Washington. From Washington, went to Oxford, and more than 20 years in medical sciences at Oxford. And then in recent years, I've been based in Malaysia, um, where my work in the wider Asia region has been done from. And I came back to Perth to visit older relatives at the beginning of March. And within days, Malaysia had locked down and wasn't allowing non-Malaysians into the country. And a couple of days after that, Australia locked down and locked Australians in. So I came for 10 days with a little suitcase of summer clothes. It's 10 weeks now and into the Southern Hemisphere winter. Um, and I have no idea when I'm going to be able to get out. So I'm a displaced person in my home country. And so it's an additional set of issues to deal with. The way, my fundamental way of dealing is the way I've dealt with everything since 1974 when I learned transcendental meditation. And I've been doing that twice a day ever since. So 46 years, I guess that is. I do yoga most days. I get out. Luckily, I'm staying just a block or so from the Indian Ocean, Cottesloe Beach in Perth, and I have a view of it from the window from where I'm staying. So I get out there every day. So being in nature with the fresh air from the ocean is really important. And I just am so impelled to do that I just drop everything. If by 4:30 in the afternoon I haven't got out, I just drop everything and charge out. It doesn't matter if the temperature outside in the evenings has been around 7 degrees here. But still, it's wonderful to get that burst of nature. So meditation, yoga, nutrition. After a few weeks with family, I decided I needed to rent my own place and not outstay my welcome. And so I'm just today going to go and buy a juicer, because normally I juice every day and I'm feeling that I'm not getting that full power punch from fresh juices. So the nutrition side of things, the integrative movement, the aerobic movement from vigorous walking, the meditation, yoga, staying in touch with family and friends, Zoom. But in Australia, we're allowed to meet up with people now because there's such a low incidence of COVID-19 here and very well controlled. So that's my equation.
I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. And we have a quick guide that we put together of fostering mental health while practicing physical distancing. And we use we have an ant character, and he holds the tools of a healthy brain. And I think you got about half of those. Everything that you named was one of the tools, which is kind of cool. That's really
It's
nice.
good. And if it weren't for different time zones and Zoom calls, I would also have perfect night's sleep.
It's difficult when you're doing Zoom calls around the world.
Absolutely.
Well, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will put links in, all sorts of links to the work that you're doing, and anything else you can let us know. But I look forward to continuing the conversations and maybe doing some
Sure.
work together. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Donna. That'd be great. Pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. And thank you guys for joining us.